Bright neon lights, the sound of coins clinking, the smell of popcorn and soda, and the unmistakable chorus of 8-bit sound effects echoing through a crowded room. Welcome to the golden age of arcades, the heart of 1980s gaming culture. In this video, we're taking a deep dive into the world of arcades, the games, the atmosphere, the social scene, and why they became a cultural phenomenon that still lives on in our memories. The arcade boom didn't start in the 80s, but it exploded there. The late 70s gave us the first taste with games like Space Invaders and Asteroids, but in 1980, everything changed. Pac-Man arrived. Suddenly, arcades weren't just for tech geeks, they were for everyone. Pac-Man's colorful maze and catchy sound effects made it a household name. It was followed by Donkey Kong, introducing us to a character who would later become Mario. These games weren't just entertainment, they were the beginning of a revolution. Walking into an arcade in the 1980s was like entering another world. The lighting was dim, but the machines glowed. Each cabinet had its own personality, artwork, joystick layout, and sound. You'd hear the rhythmic tapping of buttons, the occasional cheer when someone hit a high score, and the constant hum of machines. Arcades were loud, chaotic, and magical. You didn't just play games, you lived them. Arcades weren't just about games, they were social hubs. You'd meet friends there after school, challenge strangers to Street Fighter, or try to beat the local high score on Galaga. The leaderboard was a badge of honor. If your initials were at the top, you were a legend, and if someone beat you, you'd be back the next day to reclaim your throne. Arcades taught us competition, camaraderie, and the thrill of victory. The 1980s gave us some of the most iconic arcade games ever made: Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Centipede, Frogger, and later, Double Dragon and Street Fighter. Each game had its own style, its own challenge. Some were fast-paced shooters, others were platformers or puzzle games, but they all had one thing in common: they were addictive. You didn't just play once, you played until your pockets were empty. As the 80s progressed, arcades faced a new challenger: home consoles. The Atari 2600 brought gaming into the living room. Then came the Nintendo Entertainment System. Suddenly, you didn't need quarters, you just needed a cartridge. But even as home gaming grew, arcades remained special. They offered experiences you couldn't replicate at home. The atmosphere, the competition, the community, it was irreplaceable. Arcades weren't just places to play, they were part of pop culture. Movies like Tron, War Games, and The Last Starfighter romanticized the gamer lifestyle. TV shows featured arcade scenes. Even music videos had pixel art and joystick references. Arcades became symbols of youth, rebellion, and imagination. They were more than machines. They were portals to other worlds. Even today, arcades hold a special place in our hearts. Retro arcades are making a comeback. People collect vintage cabinets, and modern games still borrow from 80s aesthetics. Why? Because arcades were more than games. They were memories, they were friendships, they were the thrill of chasing a high score, and the joy of sharing it with others. They were, and still are, magic. Thanks for joining us on this trip back to the golden age of arcades. If you ever spent your afternoons feeding quarters into a machine, chasing high scores, and living in pixelated worlds, this one's for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your favorite arcade memory in the comments. And stay tuned. Next time, we are rewinding the tape to explore the VHS revolution. Until then, game on.